This week it was announced that La La Land, the 2016 film directed and written by Damien Chazelle, would be becoming a Broadway musical. This news is not that surprising. I think deep down I knew that whether it was sooner or later, La La Land would be going to the stage. It's a film with a massive theatricality, it's all about musicals and theatre, but my biggest surprise is that this is coming now, especially seeing as La La Land has a very Marmite reputation, but I'll get onto that later. So what exactly has been announced? Who's working on this? And what are my thoughts about how they can properly adapt La La Land to the stage? Let's talk about it. But if you haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Ellie, I talk about theatre. I do reviews, discussions, video essays, I talk about news, and if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing to the channel, it really helps me out and allows you to see everything that I do over here. But let's break down this Broadway World article so that I can give my opinions on the fact that La La Land is going to Broadway. So, producer Mark Platt has announced that La La Land will be going to the stage. And with this, we don't have an actual production timeline. So unlike the recent news about Coco, which was another film to stage adaptation that has been recently announced, we don't know exactly how early into production this is. However, from what's announced, we can infer a couple of different things. We learned that the production is going to be directed by Bartlett Sher, who is a Tony-nominated director and also the resident director at the Lincoln Center Theatre in New York. And the songwriting team from the film is coming over to work on the stage show as well, and that is Justin Hurwitz and lyrics by Pasek and Paul, who are famous for writing Dear Hansen, Great Showman, and if you're very much into musical theatre, Dogfight. Most interestingly, however, is that Damien Chazelle, who wrote the screenplay for the film and directed it, isn't working on the book for this show. And it's also announced that Ayad Khattar and Matthew Decker will be writing the book for this musical. This article goes on to give a quote from Platt, which reads as such: "We've assembled a world-class team to create a musical that will delight La La Land's millions of current fans and introduce the property to a whole new audience." And there you go, that's everything we know. As I said, we can slightly infer that this musical adaptation is slightly further into production than something like Coco, mainly because of the fact that they have got a director attached and not just the basic structure of the team. It's not a lot to go on, so take it with a grain of salt, but I think we're more likely to see this a little bit sooner. Not too much sooner, but a little bit sooner. So there you go, that's the story. Now, what I find interesting about La La Land is that the reputation of the show is very mixed. When I say that, I don't mean that people are in the centre on it. I find that no one has a middling opinion of La La Land. You either love it or you hate it with every single fibre of your being. I mean, when I did my poll on this on Instagram, I did have a couple of people reply to it saying, "Oh, I hate La La Land so much." And I wonder how this reputation is going to affect the show itself and how they approach this adaptation. I must say that what I enjoy about La La Land is the stuff that's not going to translate to a stage version of La La Land. That's why I'm very concerned. Because the biggest thing I love about La La Land is its film language. I love its stylization, I love the colour scheme of it all. I love the direction of Damien Chazelle, I love all the different beautiful sequences. Think of A Lovely Night and even just how that inspired the movie poster with those beautiful purple colours. The bright flashiness of sequences like Another Day of Sun, or Someone in the Crowd. These numbers are visually stunning, so well crafted on film. And sadly, that is the number one thing that won't translate directly. There can be influence. We can see purple backdrops and this idea of the stylization into the set design, but the exact thing I love just doesn't translate. And what's more, I think La La Land has a plot that I don't know how well it will work on stage. It jumps around a lot, it's focused on very few characters. The things that you're going to want to expand in a Broadway version is going to be less focused on Sebastian and Mia. You're going to want to expand the friendship groups, the different trials that they go through. Will we see the musical jump around with time as much as the film did? And what's more, I think the tribute has got to change. Because La La Land is not a celebration of theatre. It is a celebration of musicals, but a very specific type of musicals. Movie musicals. It's a celebration of Singing in the Rain and that kind of musical film. And with that, the film uses a lot of those techniques, a lot of the ideas from that. The score is inspired by that specific genre of musicals. It's not really a celebration of Broadway musicals. And I think in terms of adaptation, that's something that may affect it a little bit. With all that said, I do think La La Land has one thing really going for it, and that is its score. Obviously, this is a thing that we know is being directly put from film to stage. As we know, the creative team working on the film are coming back for that. I think when the score of La La Land is strong, it's strong. City of Stars is so beautiful. Another Day of Sun is so fun and bombastic. But what I really like about La La Land, the thing I love the most, isn't really the musical theatre style of songwriting, it's more of the orchestrations. The epilogue of La La Land, that 7-minute piece of music, is so hauntingly beautiful. And I hope they keep a lot of this score as background music, incidental music, or maybe even focusing some longer dance sequences on them. Overall, I think what would work on stage and what wouldn't is very imbalanced towards not working. Which is why I hope in this adaptation they do just that. They really adapt. So if I was on the creative team, what would I do to remedy some of the worries I have? First of all, I would honestly suggest maybe completely reworking La La Land. I mean, seemingly, we're on the path towards that. We've got a new director, we've got a new pair of book writers. So I don't reckon this is going to be a one-to-one adaptation. I think the first thing I would do is shift what you're celebrating. If La La Land is a film all about film musicals, then La La Land on stage should probably be a musical all about stage musicals. I don't want them to play it safe with this. I want them to try something new. I want them to adjust it, even in small ways. Make it a celebration of the flashiness of staged theatre. That's probably the easiest thing to do in terms of adaptation. At the end of the day, La La Land is a love story, and I think that kind of aspect can stay, but I think a lot of the details around that is what is going to be easiest to change. And really, I think they should. As I said, La La Land has a very mixed reputation. Maybe this is how you win back those people who didn't really enjoy the film. Listen to the criticism that people have, listen to that, take it all on board and try again. There's a lot that needs to change when you take something from film to stage, but it's also a perfect opportunity to go back to a source material, to try new things, to play around with everything. I mean, that's why off-Broadway tryouts exist. I reckon with a slight refocus, La La Land could work really well on stage. But overall, am I worried? Yes. I think there is a very innate fear within me that we won't see many changes and we're just going to see the film on stage, and if that happens, I think it's going to be a weaker show. As I said, what I like about La La Land, and I like La La Land, I'm a fan of the film, but what I like about it is not what's going to work on stage. But this creative team is interesting, and I do have hope. So yes, I am worried overall, but I can't judge it before I see it. So we're just going to have to wait until La La Land graces onto the stage eventually. I mean, it's in America, so I won't be able to see it. Maybe someone will bootleg it, I don't know. But will I like it? I don't know, who's to say? But what do you think? Are you excited about a La La Land stage musical? Which team are you in? Are you Team La La Land or Team Not La La Land? Let's fight, fight! Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribing. It really helps me out, it helps out the channel. There's some links to some other videos on screen right now, and a link to my Instagram if you want to drop me a follow over there. But that's it for me today, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye!